We will now move on to the protein test using egg solution and milk solution. So I have two protein samples, my egg and my milk. So firstly, I'm going to make an egg solution. What I'll simply do, I'll break the egg and add it into some water in a beaker, and then I'll mix with water as well as the milk solution. I'm also going to use the milk to make milk solution. I'll simply add some water to the milk. The reason why we do this is so that we dilute them, because they are too concentrated, so we need to make them dilute. Here's my egg solution. I broke the egg and added some water so it somewhat appears brown or yellow. And this is my milk solution. I've mixed my milk with some water, like I said, so that I can have the milk solution. Firstly, take note that you need to label your samples so that all your beakers do not get mixed up. For the protein test, I'm going to use sodium hydroxide first and then add copper sulfate. Here I'll take a clean test tube, add my egg solution, maybe just 1 cubic centimeter. It will be more preferable to use a syringe to measure out small volumes so as to get accurate measurements. But this is just a quantitative test for demonstration. Then again, I'll add a similar amount of sodium hydroxide. Observe the color changes which take place. As soon as I add the sodium hydroxide, it decolors the egg solution, becomes transparent and somewhat colorless. You can see the difference here. This is the egg solution, this is the egg solution plus sodium hydroxide. So it has changed. Again, here you need to use a dropper to add a few drops of copper sulfate. It is not advisable to just pour in the chemicals because you miss the end point. So I'm going to use my dropper. I'm going to add a few drops of copper sulfate into this mixture now. I'll add my drops, 1 and 3. Take note of the color changes which take place here. It starts with the blue of the copper sulfate, but immediately turns purple. So if you put 3 or 4 drops, it will be fine. You will observe that there's a purple coloration. This purple coloration is a positive test for the Biuret test, or the test for proteins in a food sample, after having added sodium hydroxide and a few drops of copper sulfate. So that test was positive. I'm going to repeat this test now, but now using a different food substance. In this case, I'll use milk. I've added my milk to some water, so it's a milk solution. I take another clean test tube. I'll add here my milk solution, maybe a cubic centimeter. Then I will need to add again my sodium hydroxide, maybe another cubic centimeter of sodium hydroxide. You can see that it becomes maybe a lighter shade of white, a pale or off-white, if you can say. It's not that intense white coloration that was there. And then I'll add my few drops, maybe 3 or 4 drops of copper sulfate. 1, 2. You can see that the color is changed from white to slight bluish, and then that purple coloration is back again, although it's a bit more intense as compared to the one from the egg solution.